Hello everyone, I'm Cloud and welcome to Anime No Mi. Today, following the One Piece videos, we will comment on all the leaks from chapter 1023 of the manga. Yes, we already have some leaks of the One Piece manga, and with it we can already know a lot more about what is happening in all of history nowadays. I'm counting on your help by subscribing to the channel if you're still new here, and so join our crew. Also leave your like in the video, which is very important. Now we continue with the video. As we know, every week we have some leaks of the One Piece manga. In general, we have leaks in texts and topics, as well as a draft of the most important event of the chapter. This week was no different, and so we will see in detail each happening in the topics. As you may remember, during the last chapter we saw a big confrontation between Zoro and Sanji, who were fighting Queen and King. We now believe that the two Straw Hat Pirates would be able to defeat the big stars of Kaido's crew. Sanji and Zoro were extremely motivated and thus carried out a gigantic attack on the two, but now with the leaks in the chapter we were able to discover that this attack didn't seem to have had a great effect. The first topic of the chapter already says that Queen and King keep up quite well even after the attack of the most powerful members of Luffy's crew. Even so, they couldn't give up at that moment, even witnessing more closely the great power of the pirates with the greatest reward beside Kaido. We then continued with the moves from Marco the Phoenix. We know that he would not continue fighting because he was already without strength. Even though he was the former first mate of the Whitebeard pirates and having a gigantic power, he was fighting pirates of similar power and reward while still protected several allies, which left him extremely drained. So now, analyzing all the happenings at that time, Marco goes on to say that in Red Line there was a legendary place, a place he didn't know but was mentioned in a Whitebeard story that said it looked like there was a land of gods in Red Line. And we know Marco is trying to remember some possible information that explains King's powers, which might indicate that this island is the former home of the pirate who fights alongside Kaido, but we'll talk a little more about that in a bit. After all, at that moment we see that we continue the great fight between King and Queen against Sanji and Zoro. After showing well after the Straw Hats attack, they then decide that they should counterattack with even more power than before. And we still have one more possible problem happening with Luffy's allies that could end up making this confrontation difficult. After all, we see that Sanji wasn't feeling well or noticing something strange in his body. He starts talking to Zoro, saying that his body looked strange after using the battle suit for the second time. As we know, Sanji initially was totally against the idea of wearing his combat suit. He didn't want to accept something made by his family, but we know that he started to use it for good, putting aside his pride and using it to face a Tobarapo page 1 and so protect the citizens of Wano as a hero. It's worth mentioning that Sanji's dream was to have the devil fruit of invisibility, which didn't happen, but his costume gives him the power of invisibility. And we also saw how he lied in the past, saying he wanted that power to become a hero. Today he really was a great hero, but now the situation was a little bad. We see Queen, who had already questioned Sanji because of his father, who was a research partner of the Big Star in the past. This time he continues to mock the cook of the Straw Hat Pirates because of his power. We know that Queen is a cyborg of the M.A.D.SA group formed by the father of Sanji, Queen, and Dr. Vegapunk, where they did several researches and even discovered the lineage factor. All this came to become Germa in the future after Vegapunk left the group and needed to join the Navy, but Queen is still a cyborg from an unknown past, and now he said that Sanji was one too, that he was a cyborg raised by his father. Not only that, he says that Sanji's unique ability to use fire while performing his kicks, to give off heat with that intensity, was something that was only possible because Sanji's legs are actually totally robotic, and for that reason he can use this ability. But the cook's answer is no, he's fully human, and that power was made possible by all his effort and willingness to help his fellows. But that's not something Queen accepts as an answer. He says that if the Straw Hat Pirate isn't really a cyborg, the only way he can use the technique is by being part of a clan that controls fire. Queen says the name of that clan, but the leaks don't explain to us about it. But then again, we go back to King's story. That's because since the last chapter Marco was thinking the same thing. He was thinking about how King had control powers over fire, and also about the possibility that now his rival Queen was talking about the same thing with Sanji. And it's then as Queen was talking about them and saying their names that we saw the manga focusing totally on King, then bringing confirmation to Marco and all of us, plus possibly their name information is going to be very important to the future of the story of One Piece. But then as all that confrontation ensued and the Straw Hats attacked with everything they had, including the crew's cook, it's said that Sanji's powers don't compare at all to King's powers. It is said that the great technique of the flaming kicks are not comparable, in order to already indicate that King had the advantage and that possibly Luffy's allies are having a great difficulty in that confrontation. That's because the leaks aren't giving details about how this battle is unfolding. It's not being specific about who's winning, but as we look more carefully at everything that's being said, the advantage for the Beast's crew is clearly visible, which indicates that this battle will go on for some time yet. But then, the next topic already shows us about some Straw Hat allies who were talking about Zoro, and this while watching him facing King with everything he had. It is then said by them that Zoro was very reminiscent of the old Ringo Lord Shimatsuki Ashimaru, and they also talk about remembering the legendary samurai Ryuma, who we know was the strongest swordsman in the world in the past, and it is also said that Ryuma also possessed just one eye. While all this was mentioned, the other battles were still going on. We now have the continuation of Jack's confrontation that faced Inuarashi, and for some time it wasn't being a focus in the manga, but at this point the leaks don't give us much detail about what was happening in this battle. But we know that the battle between the two is already present in the story on different occasions in several chapters, but as Pedro had said, Inuarashi must not lose his life because somehow he said that the world was waiting for him, and possibly after the victory against Kaido's crew let's finally discover the true meaning of this. Meanwhile we continue with the confrontation of Perospero, who faced Nekomamushi, who previously faced Jack as well, but left this confrontation when he realized that Perospero was trying to disrupt the Straw Hats' battles, attacking them while they were unprepared, and ending the battles that are happening in Onagashima to go directly to where Captain Luffy is. We also have the ninja confrontation between Reizu and Fukurokujo. We know they are both extremely powerful ninjas, but they have their way of thinking completely different. This battle started during the last chapter of the manga, where we saw that one did not understand the other's motivation to keep fighting. After all, everyone had a completely different view of how a ninja should act and fight until the end. After all, we know that Reizo wants to fight for Wano and his teammates until the end, saying that he needs to fulfill Oden's dreams, and that for that he would give his own life if necessary. Fukurokujo, on the other hand, kept attacking him because he said that a ninja should fight for the one who currently led Wano and not care about past leaders, saying that the entire Ninja Samurai Alliance was fighting for a ghost. This is another battle for which we don't have much details about its outcome. We don't know exactly how everything is going, but what we saw with the last chapter is that apparently the two in front of the fight have devil fruit powers, and Reizo can have a big advantage hidden in your scrolls. However, after all this we finally leave the floating island of Onagashima and go directly to the place where Luffy had finally woken up after being cast overboard by Kaido. The Straw Hat was recovering with the help of Law's crew, but the main thing was the presence of Momonosuke, who was beside Shinobu, this because Luffy asked for his help to return to the confrontation against Kaido. Luffy wanted Momonosuke to become a dragon and fly with him back to Onagashima, which we already know Momonosuke is capable of from what we've seen before. Unconsciously, he's already done that. But the most amazing thing is that Momonosuke didn't just want to do that, he also wanted to face Kaido, and for that reason he asked Shinobu to use his devil fruit powers to make him age, and now in this chapter we see this happening. Momonosuke actually became an adult, now 28 years old, and along with his physical evolution, his devil fruit power also evolved. So, in front of Luffy and everyone there, Momonosuke becomes a gigantic dragon. At that point we then see Luffy surprised and happy as he called Momonosuke to finally get back into that confrontation and save Wano. This ends our full analysis of the leaks from chapter 1023 of the One Piece manga. Don't forget to leave your likes in the video to help the channel, and also subscribe if you're still new here. The channel is new and needs your help. Thank you so much for watching our video so far. Your support is very important. See you in the next video. Bye.